Said just a minute ago, right now I'm just going to go down some of these docks because it's a spawning flat back here. So we'll go down some of these docks and try to find some of those big staging females, because sometimes they'll be, depending on what the water temperature is and how far they are along, they will be out just back off of this spawning flat, considering the spawning flat being back here. So they'll be out around these docks, just waiting for everything to get right to pull up there and to get really shallow and spawn. And they don't necessarily always have to go to the back. A lot of times they'll spawn in and around behind some of these docks. I said they don't have to go all the way to the back, but we'll just go around some of these docks and try to find some of the big staging females, because that's what you want to catch this time of year. Like I said, we can catch the buck bass probably a little easier, because they're generally the ones to pull up first. But your best chance of catching a big one is this time of year. Therefore, we want to fish for a big one. So you may only get one bite in a day or two, but they will generally be big, and we're trying to cater to a big fish today too with throwing these bigger baits. Not that all big fish eat big baits. They'll eat small baits just as well. But what you're doing by throwing a big bait, most of the time little fish won't eat a big bait. So we want to throw something that's going to appeal to try to cut down on catching small ones and just fish for a big bite. There's a lot of trout up here in Burton, so that's why we're going to throw this swim bait that mimics a trout today. A lot of those big ones feed on those trout. I think that's one of the reasons the largemouth get big up here, is because of their diet, eating the trout, and then of course there's a lot of blue herring up here.
Do you ever sight fish?
Yeah, right now I think it's probably a little early, It wouldn't surprise me to see one on bed. Not at all. But right now, the water temperature, it's had time to adjust. The water temperature right here is showing about 58. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see some on bed, but I would think majority of the fish are still pre-spawn, meaning they're right there close, ready to spawn, just not spawning yet. So yeah, if that water temperature, if it kind of stays like this, the same, we may run around and see if we can find some on the bed. Actually, sight fish one a little bit later. We've had some cold fronts come through the past couple of days, and that a lot of times can wreak havoc on spawning fish. They'll be right there close, getting ready, and then you'll get a goofy cold front and it'll cool the water down. Those fish generally don't like that. Usually prime condition is when you're on a warming trend where the water is warming up every day. And one of the key things to the spawn is for the water temperature needs to be stable. In order for that to be stable, the nighttime air temperature has to be in the 50s. That's when it stays stable. You know, last night I think it got down to, we had a frost this morning. So the air temperature is really not stable right now. That's what you want, is for the water to be stable. The water temperature will be on a steady incline instead of going up and down, up and down.
So what do you recommend when it's going up and down like this? Is there a certain...
Generally, like I said, they'll just slow down a little bit, meaning they won't just rush to the bank. You would generally fish for the fish that are on the staging areas, meaning these docks. When it's a little unstable like that, you just want to stay out a little bit and fish some of the docks and some of the staging areas. When it gets stable, I would say next week, you could come up here if this water stays good or the weather stays good. You could come up here and really, we'd just put the boat in and we'd just start looking for fish that's on the bed. But right now, I just think with the conditions the way they have been, there's going to be a whole lot more staging fish than fish actually spawning right now. But they'll get up on these flats like this is just a real flat point running out here before it dumps off into the creek channel. And those fish will just kind of be sitting out there. They may be out on the steeper side of it, on the ledge, if you will. So I'm gonna try to just throw this jerkbait a little bit and see if there's any, just kind of cruising around on this flat. This time of year, we know the fish are going to spawn. We know they want to spawn. They're typically easy to pattern this time of year because you know where they're going. You know they want to be shallow. So you'll just kind of find a spawning area where fish would spawn, and historically they do spawn in here because I've caught them, actually sight fishing in this very creek. So I know they're here somewhere. They want to be up on the bank. So we'll just kind of start out where they would stage and then just work our way in. Generally, you will find them at some point. If you catch one off of a dock headed into an area, you can pretty much take that and run it as a pattern. Say, well, there's some fish staging on these docks. So then we'll just run around and fish docks. it's all about trying to figure out the pattern, and once you figure out the pattern, then you can run it in different areas of the lake. And you know, when it's early, pre-spawn, fish will spawn at different times on different areas of the lake when it's a big lake. This lake is not that big, but you'll have variances in the water temperature due to wind and everything else. So you just want to run around and try to find the same, like if you catch them here, the water temperature's 57, 58 degrees. We go to another section of the lake, we want to find that same type water temperature and the same type deal, and you can probably duplicate it every time.
Oh yeah.
That's a bass. A big one too. Stay over there, baby. It ain't as big as I thought, but we'll take him. That's a male. See him right there? Peeing, if you will? That's a male.